in today's India or today's world, I wouldn't say just India, it's all wokeism. It's everything has to be politically right. You say one word this way or that way, it could be either an FIR against you or the cancel culture. Do you agree with that? That we are in a very difficult phase?
Yeah, and I have to say two things here. Narendra Modi was my briefing client along with Jaitley when I was doing the Vajpayee campaign. I've seen Modi in action. Obviously, Jaitley sadly passed away. And I remember in 2008 going to Modi's house in Gandhinagar, after which I wrote an article, so it's all published material, where I said one day this man will be the prime minister. I have seen the retribution that, say, the topmost person in India has faced because of this cancel culture and wokeism. The good part is Modi ignores it as he should. I was in New York, and last week there was an issue related to Shazia Elmi. And people asked, I
She's
said,
the BJP
yeah.
spokesperson in case people don't.
I said, just ignore it. Wokeism is
You said
nothing.
that to Shazia.
To
Ignore it.
Shazia and to the organizers.
Okay.
Look, there will always be people who will pursue an agenda of their own. There's no bigger intolerance than being intolerant and seemingly coming across as tolerant. So the most intolerant people are the ones actually who praise and who, espouse the virtues of tolerance. For instance, I may be allowed any political ideology. I can practice any religion. I can eat what I want. Who is someone else to tell me as long as it's not illegal?
Okay.
Many years ago, I was asked on a program, why do you smoke? I said, I smoke cigarettes. Oh, it's bad for your health. I said, when if it's made illegal, I'll stop. So I have a very clinical view on these matters. And I think the more we succumb, the more they will trample you.
See, it's easy to say don't succumb when it's an individual, but it's become so serious now. Anybody eats non-vegetarian or eats beef, cancel culture. The thing is that why do you talk about eating beef, but you don't talk about pork? They have a way of, I can well understand one side saying it, but the cancel culture is what is scary, because the right wing, which was a victim of that cancel
Correct.
culture by the left, now says that, hey, you did this to us, so we'll do it to you. So while I understand where they come from, where does this end? If this is how it's going to be, if you recall in those before the Modi era, before 2014, the reason I say Modi era is because, the right wing started asserting itself a little bit, say, between 2014 to 2016, and talked about this whole Khan market gang and how they had got a kind of a vicious grip over media, over the think tanks, over seminar circuit. Everything was, if you were even mildly right wing. There's this. I remember meeting an author in Washington D.C. He goes with the Twitter handle called Great Bong. His name is also Arnab, and he told me that publishers wouldn't even consider his books at one point of time when he was writing, or even his articles, because they was like, tone down your right wing. Otherwise, we can't give you op-ed space. We like what you write, but we can't give you op-ed space. This is how it used to be before 2014. I met him before 2014. But sure enough, 2014 comes and everything changes. He finds a publisher, he finds op-ed space, but there is the other thing that happens, right? The right wing is now out there writing their op-ed pieces, and they are now critical of the left wing guys. So where does this end? How does there a balance come about?
So I think that's a brilliant question. Now let me tell you where it'll end. Nowhere. Because it's going to perpetuate itself until people like you and I will see through the nonsense, and we'll be able to sift through the facade. What is happening is, as you rightly said, there is an assertion. This is the era of assertion. You're asserting yourself, they're asserting themselves. Also remember, liberals have a very fine way of assertion. They believe in social ostracization.
Yeah.
The right wing is still dumb enough not to know how to do it. I've always said that there's no point getting upset with the New York Times or the Washington Post. You either engage with them or you let them be. The day you tell someone I'm upset with you means that person is relevant to you. Irrelevance, Smita, is the worst thing. Many years ago, I think it was George Bernard Shaw who says, You can love me or hate me, but don't be
Ignoring.
indifferent.
Okay.
Indifference is what the right wing must now learn to practice. Also, I have a sneaky feeling that many a time the right wing sometimes wants the endorsement of the liberals,
Yes, I agree with you.
which, by the way, is suicidal. Why would you want the endorsement of anyone? And I've always said, I was asked this question in New York. People said, oh, but Modi. I said, when I last checked, he's won 2 general elections. We are a democracy. If you decry him, you're actually decrying democracy. And you're decrying the mandate of a large section of Indians who have voted him. He has not sneaked through the back door.
I can understand when, say, a think tanker or a policy wonk says that this is not the India that ought to be, because think tankers tend to think they know a lot of what India ought to be, what corporate India ought to be, what media ought to be. They are the ones who are the gyanis. What about journalists? How can journalists not accept a mandate? If today Rahul Gandhi wins 3 elections, state elections, say he wins Gujarat, he wins Himachal Pradesh, he wins the next election that happens, the state election that happens. If he wins that, will you continue to, will anybody, any in their sane mind, continue to, say that he's a nut job, he's a this, he's a that? No, he's winning elections, which means people believe in him,
Absolutely.
right? So I can't understand journalists who, say this is not right.
But what did you see between 1952 and 2014? You saw political patronage of the worst kind. You replaced the royals with the political royalty. And they gave you largesse. They took you on Air India One.
Yeah.
They allowed you their junkets. Even Atalji allowed this.
Yeah.
What did Modi say? He says, I don't care. And what Modi has done is what these guys needed a long time ago. Now, I'll give you examples. I know of several people, Smita, who, using their journalistic tag or their accreditation, were staying in government sponsored bungalows and homes
Sure.
without paying a dime. Why? They were close to the powers that be. You saw there was a famous, so-called famous lady journalist on television who said, I make and break cabinets. It's another matter that she got 24 people killed at the chambers because of a reckless and insensitive reportage on 26/11, which I was witness to. So, point I'm making is those days of entitlement are over. Now, all that needs to be communicated, and this is where this government is perhaps its weakest. The individuals in this government are great communicators, but the government as a whole is weak. Why should they even talk about right wing? What has Modi done with the Padma Awards? He has created a democracy of awards that you and I couldn't imagine. Earlier, people would write to me, people would call you up saying, Mera naam. I would always tell people that if I even endorse it, that's a sure sign of not
You
getting
won't
it.
get it.
But you know how the thing
Yeah.
worked?
Yes, I know.
Today,
Yes.
it is actually a meritocracy,
Yeah.
but no one talks about it.
Yeah.
Today, you can be the poorest of the poor, the commonest of the common, and yet if you've achieved something, you will get it.
You can write 6 op-ed columns praising Modi, but you will not get a Padma Award. This is what has the message which
Or Rajya Sabha.
or Rajya Sabha. This is the best message that could have gone out.